This is Eric K. Thomas with the Quintessential Gentleman, and I am here with Mr. Van Jones, and we're about to see a nice first episode of Redemption Project, right?
Absolutely.
How do you feel?
I'm excited because I know it's dope. So,
so just waiting for everybody else to see how dope it is.
Yeah. It's an opportunity for us to show stuff that has really never been on television before. Okay. Usually people assume if there's been a crime, something bad happened, that, if the verdict goes the way the family wants it to go, somebody gets sentenced, somebody goes to prison, well, that's over. It's a wrap. You got justice. Everything's good. Roll the credits. Not true. Not true.
So tell me a little bit about what this actual project is.
This is looking 10 years later, sometimes 20 years later, after something really bad has happened. Someone has killed someone has run over somebody with their car, somebody shot someone, the person almost died, and 10, even 20 years later, there's been no healing. There may have been a verdict, there may have been a sentence, but people are still stuck. And so what we do is we talk to 8 people who've done really bad stuff who want to make amends, and then we talk to their victims or their surviving family members, and then having talked to both, we then put them in a room and let them talk to each other face to face for the first time. And it's powerful.
Okay. So, I know you kind of say you focus on, instead of focusing on retribution, you focus on rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Can you explain that idea?
Well, they're two different kind of visions of justice, and they both make sense. The one we talk about the most is what you call retributive justice, retribution, revenge, eye for an eye. You hurt me, I hurt you, now we're even. Right. So that kind of even Steven, eye for an eye kind of justice is what most people expect. The problem is, if you add damage to damage, you tend to get more damage. Right. And so sometimes the court system winds up creating a cycle of violence and very little healing. A lesser celebrated but actually older version of justice is called restorative justice, where you really focus on what do you have to do to get to healing. If somebody does something bad, if somebody steals something, if somebody hits somebody, it creates a disruption in the community. And what you really want to do is figure out how do you restore that balance? How do you restore that peace? And that's not just as easy as putting somebody in prison. Right. The person who's been hurt may have needs that don't get met by just putting somebody in prison. They may want an apology. They may want more of an understanding. They may want the person to do something to make amends. The courts don't do that. The minute there's a crime, all the professionals jump in. The police, the professional investigators, the judges, the lawyers, the jurors are drug in, and suddenly everybody is talking about what happened except the people that it happened to and with.
Right.
And so the victim is usually silent. The person who's accused is usually told to remain silent, and everybody is dehumanized, and at the end of the day, nobody's happy. And so we're now pushing for restorative justice, to have a process by which people who have been hurt can have their needs better met. And we capture all that in the Redemption Project. And it sounds fancy, but what it comes down to is sitting down just like we're talking.
Right.
And me asking the questions that I need to ask, and you telling your story that you need to tell, so we at least have some ability to understand each other. Sometimes it results in real miracles. Yep. Sometimes it doesn't. But every time we did it, the 8 times that we did it, the people who have been the so-called victims and survivors, those people wound up getting some real healing, at least because they got more information than they'd ever had before.
Right. And last question. So you've went through this process, spoken to 8 families in dealing with this. What have you learned from not only the victims' families, but also what have you learned from the offenders?
Well, I mainly learned that I got a lot of work to do because I'm still mad about stuff that happened in 3rd grade.
Right,
you know
right,
what I mean?
right.
Playground beefs. Patrick Carmody. I still hate him. So it takes a lot of moral courage to walk into a prison and sit down and talk to the person who may have taken your child's life. That takes moral courage. It also takes moral courage to walk out that prison cell and walk down that tier and sit down and look in the eyes of somebody whose life that you ruined, and to say that you're sorry, and to try to answer their questions and try to help them. So I just saw Olympic levels of moral courage
Right.
that encouraged me to be a little bit more courageous myself.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
It's April 28th on CNN, The Redemption Project with Van Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you want to get involved after the show, I'm a part of something called the Reform Alliance, reformalliance.com. We're trying to actually do something about the stuff we're seeing on television every day.
Awesome. Thank you.